This week's Parashat is Naso, and it contains the Birkat Kohanim, the priestly blessing. We use it to bless our children on Shabbat, when our homes become a mikdash ma'at, a small sanctuary, and we become like Kohanim. I have a friend, Yossi Eliav, who lives in the Jewish quarter in Jerusalem. I've been at his Shabbat table many times. The moment when each of his children come to him one at a time, and he gently places his hands on their head and blesses them, is a most precious spiritual moment. His face lights up, as do each of theirs. Naso et rosh, it says, lift up the head. Now that can mean to count, like curiosity. I want to know how many people are standing around. Or it can mean to make a census with a purpose for taxes or for soldiers or for a minyan. And it can mean Naso et rosh, lift up the head literally, elevate someone, remind them that they count. I love this story by Rabbi Shlomo Riskin. When he was a young rabbi, a very tall man came to him who was named Adolf Katz. Katz is Kohen Tzedek, he was a Kohen, and so it was Passover festival service, so they gave Mr. Katz the Aliyah for the Kohen. And he did that, and then Rabbi Riskin asked him to be part of the Kohanim that bless the community together, and he said, no, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. And he said, why? And he said, well, when I first came to this country, I had to have a job, and I found one. I was selling toilet bowls, and there was a soldering accident, and I lost two of my fingers, so I can't make the sign of the Kohanim. And I asked my rabbi, and he said, no, you can no longer do the Birkat Kohanim. And I've been sad ever since, and I can't do it now. And Rabbi Riskin said, of course you can do it. Use the talit. We cover our hands. You should bless with us. He said, no, you don't understand. When I left Czechoslovakia and saw my father for the last time, he gave me a final blessing, and he said, remember, you're a Kohen priest, and you must keep Shabbat, and then you can always ask God's blessing on the Jewish people. And ever since my rabbi told me I can't do the Birkat Kohanim, I haven't kept Shabbat. And Rabbi Riskin looked at him and stood up on his tiptoes and tried to get him eye to eye, and he said, of course you are worthy. You will join me in blessing. And he did. And from that day forward, for 18 years, he was Rabbi Riskin's Kohen Gadol. It reminded me of a story about Natan Sharansky when he just got out of the Gulag after 9 years in isolation, most of it. And he was at JFK with Rabbi Avi Weiss. I remember Rabbi Weiss telling this story. And a Jew ran up to Mr. Sharansky, said, you're my hero, a refusnik. I need a blessing from you. Please, a blessing. Well, Sharansky didn't really know many blessings at that time. He had just gotten out of the Gulag. So he placed his hands on the man's head, and he did the only blessing he knew. Blessed are you, O Lord, our God, King of the universe. And he said it in Hebrew, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, who brings forth bread from the earth. And the man, not knowing what that meant, said, oh, Mr. Sharansky, thank you. I will remember this moment for the rest of my life. Right now, this week, the message that most speaks to me is this. The way I can lift my own spirit up, and it needs lifting, is to lift up another. It may not be a specific blessing, but it can be words of encouragement. It can be a smile of acceptance. It can be an action of support. This Shabbat, Naso et rosh, be lifted up by lifting someone else. Lift someone else. Naso et rosh, and be lifted. Shabbat Shalom.